back, Fake Genetic Freaks. Today we got a very interesting video. This is me just kind of doing a little bit of rehab, trying to get some blood into my legs, trying to see how well the legs handle these jumps. I think the highest the rim height went to was like 8'6" or something, so not high at all. I'm hitting like 60% jumps, and the reason for this is because I decided that I wanted to test my mental strength by means of just running a half marathon without training for it. Would recommend, actually, really would recommend. It was super hard, but not the hardest thing that I've ever done, but the most recovery that I've had to do from one single event, besides like an actual bone break or something like that. Because it is, I guess I ran on Sunday. I ran 13.2, I think it was 13.2 miles without training, not running more than like a mile or two in 2 years. So yeah, just think about that for a second. But I did that on Sunday, and currently it is Thursday, and I'm still not recovered. My soreness, my muscle soreness is gone, or almost all gone. The balls, not the balls of my feet, but my arches really took a fall from this one. That I think it's like an actual pain. It's not just soreness. And then also my soleus on my left leg is pretty roughed up. But yeah, that's why I'm just kind of hitting these low rim dunks, not going max jumps, just kind of jumping up, just seeing how my body will handle this. I'll see how it reacts tomorrow. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I can go and do something that I know will probably get me injured, in full confidence that I'll be back pretty quickly, and I know how to help myself recover. And then also I have a rule, basically where, there's a difference between pain and soreness. I think everyone needs to know this difference. But I was definitely in pain. I have been in the pain for the last few days. And I have not been doing rehab. I've actually just been resting. Which is very different than, my ankle hurts, my knee hurts, my hip hurts, back hurts, because it's actually sore and it's not hurt. That would be when I do rehab, but I have pain that it was causing me to like actually limp, like I couldn't function properly. And as you can see now, I'm moving well, moving slow just so that I can help myself recover. But, I'm not limping and hobbling around like I was before. So that's kind of where I was at. I just had to listen to that rule. Like, if you're limping, you can't just do rehab and put more stress on the body. You have to let it recover on its own, and then gradually increase the volume getting back into it. And I think this is probably pretty good for you guys to see, because this is an example of me actually getting injured, and how I'm going to recover from it. I low-key think I'll be back to jumping and lifting full blown by the end of this week, or like at least max intensity, and then I'll build up volume from there. But yeah, today's video is actually not anything about long distance running or injuries. It's actually about the last two phases that I've done. The first one being the strength phase, which I benefited actually so much from, in every different manner. And then also the power phase that I just did as well. So much benefit in the weight room for my Olympic lifts, which is kind of the whole point of power. And I thought it would really translate over to my, just running approach jumps, but it actually, I think it translated over way more to standing jumps and more plyometric stuff that isn't max approach jumps. But yeah, I just want to go over a lot of my experience with it and how I did it and how I will do it next time once I go into those cycles again. Currently, I guess not currently, but after this injury is good and I'm feeling great, feeling like I can handle myself, I will be going into a building phase, which is just an excuse for me to get ready for an elastic phase. I'm really excited for this elastic phase. Hopefully it changes up the sprint speed, but yeah, it'll be a lot of weird things like, jump squats, that help me get ready for like depth jumps, depth drops and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the plans and what's happened most previously. And I'll get into the strength stuff. So one of the things that I did a lot was I alternated each leg day of the week. I alternated from my, what would you call it? My full, like ATG, I guess not ATG, but like until I didn't really feel comfortable going any lower on the form, which is it's below parallel on back squat and front squat. So I would switch off, if I would have my leg day on Tuesday and Friday, I would do Tuesday as a deep back squatting day and then Friday as a deep front squatting day. And so what I found for most of my stuff is that when I am going off of like the velocity based training or just timing my reps, when I go down, I kind of want to be in that for the 4 rep range. I want my slowest rep to be at around 1.3. So I'll start out with a 1 second concentric portion of a deep front front squat or back squat. And I will let the velocity drop off to 1.3. And I'm totally okay with that. The RPE doesn't feel too hard. I still feel like I'm getting a lot of benefits. When you're doing strength, power, speed work, you want to be doing things that don't drop off your velocity very much. And I've just found that 1.3 being the slowest on the 4 is not that high. I only have data for myself from a specific, 2 weeks of working out by myself with only a few sets or whatever. But from my experience, the RPE was not too high. If you want to time your reps and you're going for that strength, those 4 rep sets, 1.3 at the end is not that bad. If you start out at 1 second or 1.1 or whatever, it's not too bad. And then moving on to triples, the one thing I found was once I got to the drop off to where it hit 1.5 seconds, the RPE felt way, way too high. It felt way too slow. I felt like I was just, doing not garbage yardage, but like inefficient reps. There's too little stimulus for the amount of strain that I'm putting on myself. And still 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 are still hard reps. Like I'm still like pushing as hard as I can, but once it gets up to 1.5 at the end of that triple, it's just too high. So I would say stay at 1.3 at max, maybe 1.4 depending on who you are, but do not go up to 1.5 seconds per concentric thing unless you're a very tall athlete. Then I think it's okay. And then when I went into doubles, I found out that, as these loads get heavier because you're going down in reps, it is okay to move that thing slower, the weights slower. So I found that 1.4 was actually okay. I don't think I went into 1.5 territory, but I know that 1.4 is okay. And I started out with, I believe, 1.2 or 1.3 being my first rep. And then when I went into singles, 1.3 was where I stayed at. I honestly think I should have gone maybe a little bit longer, maybe 1.4, 1.5, because it is super, it's heavy. They're heavy loads. And so I just don't think it matters to stay moving the bar that quick anymore. I know that usually when you do singles, you do a lot more sets, so that velocity can drop off between set to set instead of just rep to rep because it's only one rep. But this is what I've found to be intuitively the best for me. I think I'll play around with it a little bit next time. And hopefully, if I can train people, I will definitely get some data on them. But as of right now, these are what I found to be the best. And then going into, I guess for updates on like how I felt during this cycle, I felt perfectly fine. Like switching off the velocity and stuff was perfectly okay. Excuse me. Switching off the hypertrophy, not velocity, and turning that into strength work. That's what I felt like was perfect. It just worked out. My knees were not, like, I didn't even need to do any rehab. All of the hypertrophy work kind of set me up for success. And then the jump heights went up super, super well. I did not get to increase volume very much, which is kind of sad for me because I just want to lift more weight or more amounts of weight. But my body was not able to handle the increase in strength, increase in jump height, and increase in volume. So it was just, tonnage-wise, I was definitely moving more weight, but I was not able to increase the volume, the amount of sets that I was doing, stuff like that. But going into the power phase, I decided I was going to not only change how many Olympic lift stuff that I was doing, so I went from throughout the whole strength phase going to 2, building up to 6 sets instead of 2 sets, each week adding 1 set, which helped my technique, form, all of these coordination things kind of skyrocket. Like I feel like my clean, especially my hang clean, went up so much. I hang cleaned I believe 215 by the end of it, and caught it in a standing position. It was awesome. I don't think I maybe could have done like 190 before the set or before the cycle, which is absolutely crazy. A 25-pound difference is just insane. But I also shortened the length of my strength things. So my range of motion decreased, so I went into more box squats, more pin squats, things like that. And this is where I think that the knee flare up, tiny but like very noticeable, kind of occurred. I didn't think there was as much stuff that was healthy for the tendon, like deep ranges of motion, and longer time under tensions. So, I'm doing a box squat and I could do it in 0.8 seconds with, a triple or something, because the velocity will drop off super quick. And so those first reps are just way more taxing on the tendons and they're not as healthy for them. So if I were to go back, I would definitely do a lot more full range of motion strength work, just because I feel like it's healthier for the knees. And then I would also move into some slow strength, because you're just doing so much fast stuff when you're doing your whole power phase that is pretty, I feel like you're increasing your risk of injury. And so I think that's also what I will be doing for the next phase when I'm going into like building up for the elastic phase. I'll definitely be getting a lot more slow strength and a lot more, slow strength and then slow hypertrophy stuff as well. So, 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up, stuff like that. 3-3-3, 3 seconds down, 3 seconds hold, 3 seconds up. But that's pretty much it. So hopefully I can get to posting more soon. See ya.